From a rare monstrous alien squid to the largest animal to have ever lived in the ocean, here are 10 of the largest creatures found in the sea. Number 10. Alien squid. It should be no surprise that the largest creatures found in the sea are also the most terrifying. For example, take a look at the new evidence of a preposterously large and ridiculously scary squid. But this isn't the giant squid, which is still the biggest. Today, we're talking about an alien squid, and it's one of the rarest creatures on Earth. The proper name for this monster is the big fin squid, and since its discovery over 100 years ago, there have only been 12 confirmed sightings. That's because the giant squid lives in the extreme depths of the ocean, anywhere from 7,000 to 15,000 feet below the surface. The most recent sightings were reported in 2020 by Live Science after 5 new images were taken of various big fin squids near southern Australia. The 5 squid were captured by underwater cameras, and it's the first time a collection of these horrifyingly large monsters have ever been seen. But you're probably wondering just how big the big fin squid is. Well, they can grow to be over 23 feet long, and maybe even longer. But what's shocking is that their tentacles are way longer than their bodies. For example, the new squid that were spotted near Australia were pretty small, only measuring about 6 feet in length. 6 inches of that length was their body, with the remaining length all being their tentacles. Unfortunately, there is still a lot scientists don't know about the big fin squid. Nobody knows what it eats, how it reproduces, what exactly it's doing with those long tentacles, or just how many there are in the ocean. Still, it's one of the biggest and scariest things down there. Number 9. The sunflower star. Let's take a look next at the sunflower star, also known as the world's largest starfish. While it might not be big enough to be carried around on a forklift, it's still a pretty large and awesome animal. It has the longest arm span of any sea star, and it's also the heaviest. The star can be 40 inches from tip to tip and can weigh up to 13.5 pounds. It also has the most arms out of any known species. The sunflower star has 15 to 24 arms, all of them symmetrically arranged. But the reason this monstrous sea star is called sunflower is because they are sometimes a deep yellow colour, and all their arms kind of look like flower petals. But sunflower stars can also be purple, orange, and even red. Other than its abnormal size, underneath there are thousands of tiny little feet which act as suction cups. They give the star an amazing grip and help it to catch prey. The feet are also used for walking. According to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, the sunflower star can move up to 40 inches a minute, which is fast for a starfish. If you've ever wondered how starfish get from place to place, this is how they do it. Starfish can indeed walk, and they certainly hunt. Number 8. Megalodon. The Megalodon may not be alive anymore, but it still deserves a place on this list, especially seeing as it's the largest known predator that we know of to have ever roamed the oceans of our planet. The sperm whale may be longer than the Megalodon, but there is no other ocean predator living or dead that even comes close to its weight. Even though size estimates have changed throughout the years, scientists still agree that this massive ancient shark was at least 70 feet long and weighed around 70 tons. In comparison, the great white shark of today only grows to be around 21 feet and 3.5 tons. That pretty much means the Megalodon would have eaten the great white shark as a snack. And if you want to compare the weight of this monstrous shark to something, it weighed about as much as 10 standard elephants. Imagine bumping into this thing on your next scuba diving trip. If the Megalodon had never gone extinct, it's safe to say that nobody would be diving or scuba diving in any large bodies of water. The first Megalodon skull was reconstructed in 1909, and at the time scientists had estimated its length to be almost 100 feet. That doesn't appear to be the case anymore, but it's no wonder this animal has been such a legend throughout the 20th and 21st centuries. And if you want to compare the size of the Megalodon to ancient carnivorous dinosaurs, it was significantly bigger than the Spinosaurus, the T-Rex, or any other vicious creature. A single tooth from one of these massive sharks is bigger than the average human hand. Number 7. Giant Pacific Octopus. Moving on to something that is still living. The giant Pacific octopus is the largest octopus in the world. It's not even close to being as large as a giant squid, but it's still a pretty hefty cephalopod. The giant Pacific octopus can be found along the west coast, north to Alaska and across Japan. Specifically, the giant Pacific octopus can be found off the coast of British Columbia. They live around 6,600 feet deep and weigh on average about 156 pounds. That might not seem like a lot, but considering the octopus basically has no bones, it's a pretty substantial number. But what's really amazing about the giant Pacific octopus is that it has huge suckers on its tentacles, with each sucker able to support at least 35 pounds. If this monstrous glob of limbs got a hold of you, there would be no getting it off. According to Guinness World Records, the biggest ever giant Pacific octopus was around a whopping 300 pounds and had an arm span of 32 feet. That's almost ridiculous just to try and imagine. But unlike many ocean creatures, the giant Pacific octopus doesn't live very long. They only live between 3 and 5 years in the wild, and they lay anywhere from 120,000 to 400,000 eggs. So, they have a pretty good rate of reproduction. Also, octopuses are considered to be the most intelligent invertebrates on Earth. They can solve mazes, open jars, and even recognize humans. Number 6. Oarfish. The oarfish is the largest bony fish in the world. According to Live Science, the giant oarfish can reach an unbelievable length of 110 feet. That's over 2 giant squids stacked on top of each other from head to tentacle. While the giant oarfish is extremely rare because it lives very deep in the oceans, it does sometimes wash up lifeless on beaches. When it does, it looks like a washed up sea serpent. It's also viewed as a harbinger of destruction. In Asia, specifically in Japan and the Philippines, people interpret a giant oarfish washing up on the shore as a warning before a deadly tsunami. It is known in traditional Japanese folklore as messenger from the sea god's palace. This has been the theory since ancient times, and there are actually some examples of giant oarfish washing up in Japan just days before a huge tsunami trashed the country. However, it's doubtful that the oarfish has any supernatural premonition abilities. When a tsunami begins underwater, it's likely that the oarfish becomes displaced and washes up on shore. It's kind of like an early warning system against disaster, though scientists are not confident that an oarfish always means the worst is soon to come. Number 5. The elephant seal. The elephant seal is truly the elephant of the sea. It's one of the weirdest, laziest, and most obese animals on Earth. The elephant seal actually gets its name because of its fat nose, which almost looks like an elephant's trunk. It also helps that they are a similar grey colour. And while the elephant seal doesn't live strictly in the ocean, it's still a marine animal. Also, elephant seals are ridiculously cute as babies. When an elephant seal is just a pup, it looks like an adorable aquatic dog. You just want to cuddle it on your couch all day. It's not until the seal reaches 7 to 9 years old that it becomes a little frightening to look at with its giant nose trunk. You can find elephant seals from Baja, California all the way to the Gulf of Alaska, and they typically breed in rural areas on the shore without too many people around. But here's a pretty gnarly fact about the elephant seal. They molt kind of like snakes and shrimps. Each year between April and August, elephant seals shed their hair and the top layer of their skin. It's an absolutely gruesome thing to witness, but it definitely explains how such a cute baby could transform into its hideous adult counterpart. As for the massive size of these animals, an adult elephant seal can weigh up to 8,800 pounds. Number 4. The longest animal ever. The longest animal ever has recently been discovered living inside a submarine canyon off the coast of Australia. According to the scientists who discovered it, the creature is the longest animal ever found. It has a shocking length of 150 feet. But what is this animal? It looks like a glowing length of thread, just kind of drifting through the ocean in a mesmerizing spiral. It's essentially a translucent length of string longer than any other animal on record. But it is in fact made up of small animals known as zooids. Together, these individual zooids create the animal we now know as a siphonophore. The zooids are actually quite fascinating. Each one performs a special function for the larger body of the siphonophore. It's a long colony of individual organisms all working together to survive. Think of it like when all the Power Rangers morph into a giant robot. It's the same kind of idea, except the enormous siphonophore is only about as thick as a broomstick. How all the zooids stayed together in the water is nothing short of a miracle, and who knows the next time we will ever encounter another one of this length. Number 3. The lion's mane jellyfish. Most people are familiar with the box jellyfish. The box jellyfish is a venomous creature in the 7 seas, able to kill a man in seconds merely by brushing its long stringy arms against his skin. But the biggest jellyfish roaming our oceans is actually the lion's mane jellyfish. Believe it or not, it's nearly the size of the siphonophore we just talked about. A typical lion's mane jellyfish can stretch 120 feet from the top of its spongy head to the bottom of its tentacles. Oh, and yes, the sting of a lion's mane jellyfish can also be horribly painful. Though they are not poisonous, the tentacles contain massive amounts of neurotoxins that can cause severe allergic reactions when they come into contact with human flesh. They have been spotted at several South Shore beaches, though you probably won't bump into one while on a snorkeling adventure. The animal is also known as the giant jellyfish, the Arctic red jellyfish because of its eerie blood red colour, or the hair jellyfish because its dozens and dozens of tentacles almost look like wispy human hair. Number 2. Whale shark. Now, we talked about the gigantic Megalodon, but it's extinct. So, now you might think the next biggest shark to currently roam our oceans is the great white. But, you would be wrong. The award for biggest shark still alive and swimming around the planet goes to the whale shark. But even though the whale shark is massive, it mainly feeds on plankton. The whale shark will open its mouth and gobble up as much plankton as possible, while it wanders constantly through the oceans looking for food. Whale sharks are popular with tourists because they are so peaceful and fun to swim with. However, not too much is known about the whale shark because unfortunately they are indeed endangered. According to the World Wildlife Foundation, most scientists believe the maximum size of the whale shark is around 40 feet, but it could be bigger. It's obviously believed that females give birth to live babies, and yet it has never been observed in the wild. Young whale sharks have almost never been seen. People only ever find adults near the surface of the ocean, and they can dive as deep as 3,000 feet below the surface. It makes you wonder where all the baby whale sharks are hiding. Number 1. The blue whale. Now it's time to meet the largest creature in the ocean. Not only is the blue whale the largest animal currently living on our planet, but so far as scientists are concerned, it is the largest animal that has ever existed on Earth, period. The blue whale has a length of up to 110 feet and a weight of 330,000 pounds. That makes it far larger even than the legendary Megalodon. The blue whale could open its mouth and swallow a great white shark like you might swallow a Tic Tac. But these animals are so much more than just giants. They are also one of the loudest animals on the planet, making all kinds of pulses and moans while they swim through the ocean. Many scientists believe this is a way for them to communicate to each other across massive distances. It could also be a natural sonar to help them navigate the dark depths of our world. And even though they are so large, blue whales mainly eat fish and small crustaceans. They hunt for food simply by opening their mouths and swallowing all the animals that are unfortunate enough to end up inside. While it's true their numbers have significantly decreased thanks to whale hunters from the 1900s, there are still quite a few blue whales still living in the ocean. A single blue whale can live for up to 90 years, and they reach sexual maturity somewhere around 5 to 15 years old, which is shockingly late in the animal world. It then takes about 12 months to give birth. However, it's unsure how many babies a blue whale will give birth to in the span of its long life. Thanks for watching. Which of these amazing sea creatures is the most impressive? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for coming. Give this video a like and be sure to subscribe. See you next time.